Hi everyone, what's up? If you are new here, my name is Swani and I make weekly lifestyle videos and I also make PR videos. And I'm very excited for this video because so far I've only been talking about my perspective and my PR experience, but I wanted to give you a look inside somebody else's experience. So I reached out to my really good friend Lisette, who works in PR and influencer marketing, and I actually met Lisette when I first started working in PR. It was one of the first companies I worked with and she is just amazing. I'll put her Instagram up here and I'll put it like linked down below so you can follow her, because she talks a lot about consulting and freelancing and just career advice on her channel. So I think she's an amazing resource. I'm going to answer these questions too. I'm not going to go into so much detail because if I feel like I need to, maybe I'll just make another video for it, just because Lisette has so much advice to offer. I think you're going to love what she has to say and you're also going to be able to learn a lot from it. So thank you so much, Lisette, for taking the time to record this and to just participate and try to help people as much as you can. The questions that I picked are mostly questions that you all have asked a lot. I tried to pick the questions that were more commonly asked and then asked her. I'll answer these questions on my part very briefly, and then if I do want to go into them later on, I'll just make a separate video about it.
Hi, my name is Lisette Calvero and I'm a digital consultant, which really means I am working individually with companies and agencies as a freelancer with anything that involves the digital space. I primarily work on influencer marketing, helping brands come up with their strategy, who they want to work with, and executing the whole campaign for them. I also sometimes consult brands on digital partnerships, meaning who are some people that might be good for them to work with, and some of their PR strategy. Aside from that, I'm also a content creator and a coach, and that's just what that really means is that I'm working with brands to collaborate, create content, and meet their goals.
So the first question, and I'll include it down here too, is did you graduate with a PR degree? And if not, what degree did you choose? Because I know a lot of you ask if you need a PR degree to go into PR. But long answer short, I did not graduate with a PR degree. I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts. And I do not think that you need a PR degree specifically to go into PR. It might help, but I don't think that it is necessary.
I actually did graduate college with a public relations degree, which was a big deal for me. Going to Florida State University, they had a pretty good PR program and they only accepted 30 people out of the entire 40,000 people in school. It was a pretty popular program and getting in was a big goal of mine, so I'm really happy that I was able to do that. But I think if I had to give advice, I would not recommend that someone majors in PR these days, because it is something that can be learned through experience, and what will be more valuable to an employer is knowledge in a huge industry or a different set of expertise.
Next question, did you ever get an internship? If so, how did you get it? So I took an internship when I was in college and I really wanted to work in a magazine when I graduated from school. So I took an internship at Ocean Drive, which was a local magazine here in Miami, which was an amazing experience. I loved it and I got to see more of like how magazines actually work. So it did actually help me in PR later on in my career.
Internships were critical for my PR career. My first internship was actually as a freshman in college, and I was doing social media for a political candidate. And that's because I was in Tallahassee, and that's the capital. But it's not really what I wanted to be doing, and thankfully then eventually got internships doing communications for different nonprofits and different small businesses in the Tallahassee area. So I would help them with doing PR locally. So getting in the local newspaper, getting them interviews with local broadcasts, and that was really cool because a lot of them were nonprofits. They were more willing to get me really involved. So for example, I worked for a women's leadership institution that was a nonprofit, and as an intern, I was able to create a whole community-wide event that also included a lot of press opportunities. So I got a lot of really good experience by working with smaller companies as an intern. Eventually, I actually got a paid internship with Zimmerman Agency, and it wasn't so much an internship because you were really an employee of theirs, a permanent employee, until you decided that your time was up with them. And through that, being at the agency level, I definitely found a lot of valuable experience on how to work with big brands, how to work on national brands, and while we had this role, what we call the junior account coordinator, we also helped mentor interns. So I was doing a little bit of both even though I was still in school. So that was a really valuable experience. After Zimmerman, I decided that I wanted to move to New York City. And to do that, even though I already had the capability to get a full-time job, I went in as an intern because I really wanted to get into an industry and felt that being an intern was an easy way in, and then I could prove myself. I didn't stay in New York City past this 4-month internship because it was too expensive for me, frankly, but I'm really thankful that I did that, and I recommend internships to everyone. And they don't just have to be at PR agencies. Even if you're doing communications or social media these days at a business, you're getting a lot of valuable experience. The process to get my first internship was actually because a professor recommended it. And I remember I created a brand new resume for that. It was the first time I got really creative with a resume, and it had a bunch of really cool sections, so it wasn't just your typical, you know, Word document Times New Roman. I was super excited about that, and they did say that my resume stood out. So not sure that it will help if you don't have what they're looking for, but having a more creative visual resume did help. You have to understand that a lot of times for internships, tons of people are applying because for them it's an entry opportunity to learn something new. So versus in the professional field where only a handful or group of people are applying for the same job because they're looking for something so specific, with internships you have hundreds, sometimes thousands of people applying. So standing out is huge. And resumes, you know, as old school as they are, that's the first impression someone has of you. So if you can make it really creative, if you can even make an online portfolio. I remember for one really cool job opportunity, I actually made a press release for myself, and it was something like Lisette Calvero is looking for her first internship in the big city. This was for New York. And I remember getting a call back because people said it was really creative. I didn't get that job because, again, I wasn't really a fit, but I definitely got my foot in the door. Another big thing that helps with internships is using your network. You, especially as a college student, will probably be volunteering or involved in different organizations. You have different friend groups. Friend groups have family, friends, connections, and you should definitely use this to your advantage. Another tip that I would also use for internships is to really be open-minded about what the internship will be. Of course, when you're thinking you want to be in PR, you automatically think, I must get an internship at a PR agency. But having an internship in a communications agency, in a marketing agency, it's all a learning opportunity. So having different opportunities outside of PR are good as well if you want to have a PR degree. I know some people, for example, who interned at magazines so that they could understand the editorial side of things. I know some people who work in media agencies so that they could understand paid media so they can, you know, translate that to PR later. I know some people who work directly in the industries that they want to be in, for example, tourism. Some people who work in-house as interns for a tourism agency and then go get a PR job. So definitely be open-minded about where you want to be, and just understand that what you're looking for is a learning experience. And a learning experience can come from many different places. After I graduated, I did spend about, I would say about 6 months more in the same agency, and the reason why I left is because I just didn't like you know, the structure of the agency that I was working at, and to get that next job at that point, you know, I was just more talking about the experiences I had at that current job. So I think my recommendation for looking for a job after college, if you aren't already in a job that can make that seamless transition, definitely use your network. At that point, I'm hoping you have interned, you have volunteered, you have been a part of a project that connected you to someone, and that will be the first place to look.
I'm gonna skip the question about my current job because I talk about that at length in all my other videos, and I'll link them down below.
So my current job is quite a journey. Being a digital consultant now, I'm working for myself. Being self-employed is something that I didn't necessarily think I wanted to do, but I just kind of grew into it by way of having a side hustle that turned into the full-time hustle. But I want to talk a little bit about the job that I had right before this, because I think that that might be really relevant. I was working in traditional PR for about 2 to 3 years, just press releases, pitching. And somewhere along year 4, social media was a big thing, and I started to do a little bit of both at the agency I was at. It was a PR agency, but they also did social media, so I was really lucky to be able to understand how to do paid social and how to do both for my client, and that together evolved into me being an influencer expert at the time. At the time, we just called it like blogging. You know, they would come to me for blogger advice. They would come to me for working with mommy bloggers, which is a big thing, and that definitely helped set me up to then eventually at my next agency be an expert in both PR, influencer marketing, and social media. And all of that was really fun to do, but then as I started to be in that job, I realized that traditional PR is not something that I really believed in. I didn't think that it was just as easy as putting a story in a newspaper and that's it, like you have reached the masses. I believe that it was a very 360 approach that also involved digital marketing. You need a little bit of earned, you need a little bit of paid, and because I believe in that philosophy so much, I asked my employer if I could just focus on influencer marketing. And while they were an amazing employer to be with and usually very willing to work with me, they just couldn't let me go as a PR account lead. So serendipitous, I set up my LinkedIn to look like, to really highlight the things that I wanted to be doing. So I highlighted digital marketing, influencer marketing, and I was reached out by a recruiter from Ogilvy, which was my dream agency to work for all my life. So it's crazy that that's kind of the last agency I worked for, full-time. And that recruiter reached out and said, we actually are looking for someone who can just focus on influencer marketing. You'll be working in the PR department, but you're just strictly doing influencer marketing. And I was like, universe? So that was really cool. And because I was able to do that, of course I took the job. I now focus just on influencer marketing from the PR perspective. And all that means is that I was working with PR teams and coming in from that influencer point of view. So helping them create paid influencer campaigns, also helping them find influencers who are the right people for their brand to work with. I also help them with figuring out how to use influencers for PR purposes. So how could we turn an influencer into a spokesperson, for example, or use them for events? So that was really cool. And then eventually, again, I had this side hustle of always helping clients on the side as a consultant. I really loved what I was doing at Ogilvy, but I wanted to do it part-time. So I was able to ask to be part-time. They were willing to work with me, and I'm sure many companies are doing this now because freelancers are a big thing. So it was an easy transition to go into self-employment by first being part-time at the agency I was working at and then filling it in with other work on the side. So all of that together made me feel much more comfortable financially and much more in a groove of working for myself.
So I think the most important skill set for anyone going into PR, you obviously have to be a good writer. I've talked about this in so many other videos that you need to learn how to write effectively, learn how to convince people that they should cover or feature your client. And then the next thing I would say is any IT skills, anything that has to do with technology, anything that has to deal with how to measure the progress of campaigns, how to measure the coverage that you're getting.
So one of the most important skill sets I believe someone in PR needs to have is to be very proactive and resourceful. So a lot of times with PR, news is changing so quickly. So for us to be able to find the right way for our client to be a part of the conversation, you have to proactively be knowing what's going on in culture, what's the news, how are you actually going to fit in? And in being resourceful, working with press and working with media, a lot of times the information that we're looking for is not in your face. So you might have to go Twitter stalk someone, now Instagram stalk someone, and to really figure out what a reporter needs to hear or what is a good fit for your client in terms of different publications to be in, you have to be very resourceful and figure that out a lot of times on your own. There is no rule book aside from how to write a press release. A lot of things you just kind of figure out as you go and whatever's a fit for your client. So being resourceful and proactive is key.
My quick advice for somebody who wants to go freelance is to make sure that you have some sort of financial stability already that you can build on. Depending on what it is that you want or how it is that you manage your money, you want to have some money saved to cover your expenses, to cover your rent, or whatever it is, because you might, like, one month it might be a great month and the next month it might be a really slow month. So you want to make sure that you are somewhat stable financially before you take that leap.
Big advice that I would give for someone that wants to go into freelancing, like I mentioned, if you can ask your current employer for a part-time or to be a freelancer for them arrangement, that would be the easiest place to start. That is, if you have a good relationship with your employer, if you like working for them, but you just want to transition to being freelance. That is a little bit more of a guarantee that you will have some work coming in while you make that transition, and it's something that you're familiar with. And then you can start building your clientele on the side. You can start, building business plans and doing a lot for yourself and figuring out exactly what you want to focus on.
For freelance rates, I have a video. I'll link it up here and down below just so you can check it out if you're interested in more of that.
When it comes to charging, I have the benefit of having worked in an agency and being an account lead. I knew what the rates have been at, what they're charging clients for me, and I can't publicly say that for the last agency I was in, but on average for someone of my level at a director level, they are charging clients anywhere from $200 to $250 an hour. So when I was setting my rates, I thought about that, and not that I recommend charging that, because agencies also are taking into account all the overhead, but you should at least be charging 30 to 50% of what that rate is, because that's what agencies are charging. So consider that, do your research in your market, because it's different for a lot of freelancers. Figure out how much experience you have and take that into account when you're setting your rate.
I think digital marketing and PR go hand in hand. They work well together. You should know both. You should use both. I think a good media PR strategy should be completely aligned with digital marketing, with SEO, with social media. And I think they definitely should all work together.
So yes, I totally think that digital marketing has a huge role in public relations these days. For a lot of consumers, reading something once in an article is just not enough for it to ingrain in their brain whatever we're trying to get across. And also, a lot of times press isn't getting our entire message there. So that's why I truly believe in the power of digital, whether that's working with bloggers to help increase your SEO and have that controlled message, whether it is paying a publication to do a digital integration, working with them to have guaranteed articles. I feel like that's all part of a very integrated approach that needs to happen more so that we can really reach our consumers. So I always recommend, whenever I'm coming in and consulting, I recommend the most integrated campaign possible and maximizing our dollars that way so that we can 100% know that we're reaching our people in different channels in different ways. It does vary by industry, but that's just what I have seen working with a lot of the national brands that I've had in my back pocket.
For those interested in working in the PR industry, and this is what I always say, is to obviously have some sort of project, have some sort of portfolio, have something that shows off your skills, whether that's graphic design or that's web developing or that's writing, whatever it is, have something to show for yourself. I think having a portfolio of your samples, creating something like that, and having somebody look over it, obviously before you present it to somebody else.
So the last thing I'll give is a piece of advice for someone working in PR or wanting to break into the industry. I 100% believe that public relations is one of those careers that you can kind of make for yourself. It is very talent driven. Once you get your foot in the door once, you have a huge opportunity to really make a name for yourself, to build a network. But again, all of that really comes from a place of being resourceful. An agency life is very fast-paced. Working in-house can be very fast-paced. So if you can be resourceful and prove yourself to all your employers, to all the companies you work with, you're someone that they're going to call back. You're someone that's going to do really well no matter what age you are. I used to have a lot of age imposter syndrome because I graduated younger than the norm, and I went into the industry younger, so I always felt a little bit uncomfortable. But then I started to gain my confidence back, knowing that I was talented and resourceful and that I'm someone people could count on. It's a very fast-moving industry too, so the last thing I would say is always be doing your personal research, sign up for newsletters, attend workshops, webinars, etc. And it's a really fun industry to be in, so wish you luck.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you again, Lisette, for helping me make this video. I hope you enjoyed it, that it got you inspired. I hope that it gave you some perspective and it gave you some good tips on what you should work on and what you should expect. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want more videos like this, let me know. If you want more collab videos like this, let me know, because I can always reach out to more people and make more videos like this. We'll see you back here next time.